But I have to say, pretty capable. I was really comfortable on this bike today. So much more than my Tuareg. And so, I don't know, I think we might have found a medium-sized bike that fits.
Hey everybody, Life's Journey at 50 here. So I'm going to do my first impressions of the bike. I actually had this new F900 GS. I put it through some paces. Be a couple of videos coming out on kind of some of the stuff that we did on this bike and some of the things that I already put it through to start with. But I have to say, let me do my first impressions here. So I have like 5 things that I think are pretty cool and 3 things that I wish maybe were a little bit, and again, this is first impressions of the bike, especially having it out and really putting it through the paces, as you guys will see some of the video on that. Couple things. If you've ridden a GS and at any time, this is going to feel like a GS. Yes, it's a F900, I get it. But this definitely feels like you're on a GS, just a little bit lighter. It's comfortable. Will I say it's comfortable in my Tuareg 660? I would say no, but it's more comfortable than the 890 KTM that I had. So it is more comfortable than the 890. Maybe not as comfortable as the Aprilia, at least in my opinion. So, but it is comfortable if you want to get on it and ride it for a period of time. The low end, the torque, like I said, it's surprisingly a GS feel. And I was pleasantly surprised by it, more so than what my Tuareg was. I felt like you had to really rev up the Tuareg to get it there. KTM's just a full blaster. You guys already know that. I actually am going to talk and I'm going to have a video that talks about all 3 of them. This is just about my first impressions on this one. But I felt that the low end, it did a nice job in mud and stuff like that. So that was pretty good. Adjustable suspension. On the Tuareg, you don't have it. On the KTM, you do. But on this one, you've got the adjustable suspension. So that's kind of nice. Like if you need to make some adjustments on the fly, you guys can do that stuff. And then the electronics. Now, again, this kind of goes back to point number 1 where it feels like a GS. It has all the electronics. So if you've ridden a GS and you want to downsize and get to a midweight bike or whatever, you're going to feel right at home on this bike. So just kind of there. Downsize. I would say the tank size. Now I talked about this in my video. I said 3.2. It's a 3.8 gallon tank. I'll put it in liters down there. I really wish they probably would have done like a 4.5 gallon tank. I get they probably didn't want to do a 5 gallon like in a GS and just make it too heavy or whatever. But I think 4 gallon, maybe a little bit more than 4 gallon, 4.2 would have been about the right size on this. Just my personal opinion. I just think that, the 3.8 is a little bit, it's smaller than the 890 and it's smaller than the Aprilia. So I think it could have been just a tad bit bigger. Windshield. I'll take a picture of it up here, but it's a small windshield on here. Again, if you're going to do some long touring with this bike or long hauls, I would definitely get the bigger windshield that you can get for this bike.
If you're just riding off-road, then keep the windshield. If you're going to do long hauls or anything like that, get the road windshield and do a bigger thing.
Just, because of the buffeting, whatever you want to call it, of what you'll get with your helmet. Now, I rode this bike a couple of times, once with my Touratech helmet, and that Touratech helmet was I'm all over the place. Now, my Arai helmet was a lot smoother on this bike, and I think it's just dynamics of the helmet versus the bike. But I think if you're going to do long hauls, you definitely want a bigger windscreen. And then when you stand up, so this one is an odd one. Both on the Aprilia and the 890, and again, I'm going to do a separate video on that, but I feel like the tank up here is pretty wide. So when you're standing up, your legs really get into this and feel it. I have to say, because I've ridden my GSA so much off-road, I would tell you that this felt like standing up on my GSA. Just because of the way the tank is shaped and all that, it just made me feel like I was on my GSA standing up. Now,
this down here, the body, when you're leaning on it and you're standing up on it, it feels like my GSA because of the wider tank down here. But it's nimble like my 1250 GS. And then it's obviously just a little bit lighter than that. But
on my GS here, I felt it's a little bit more comfortable standing on my GS because this winglet here that pops out, I think is, you know, part of that, what it feels like the GSA because of the bigger, wider, you know, body on it. So that's one thing. Now, flickability wise, all that stuff, it feels like my GS. I think, you know, it's a fantastic bike. Obviously, it's a little bit lighter than this one, but yeah, it's a great bike. So again, the stand-up piece, that's more so like if you're coming from a GS or a GSA, especially a GSA, you're kind of going to feel like it's a GSA standing up on it just because of this tank. So I think those are a little bit of the downsides. They could have possibly thinned this out, maybe dispersed, but again, you know, maybe figured out the gas tank a little bit different in configuration, but she works. I mean, she's, you know, she does a great job. So that's my first impressions on the bike. You guys, like I said, I put some highlights in here from it, but you guys will see a couple of videos coming out of me riding it, and it definitely can handle it. I'm pretty impressed with it so far. And like I said, I've had this, you know, I've had the two Aprilias, I've had the 890R, the KTM 890 Adventure R, and now I've had this one, and this one's pretty much, it's kind of a sweet place for this bike. So a lot of upgrades to it. I told you I put some springs on here, you know, extra suspension springs for this body of mine. Hepco Becker crash guards. I got the Black Dog skid plate on there, Black Dog rear rack. I think that's new since the last video you saw. The Bark Busters. I've got the double take mirrors. I am adding these ASV short handle for both the clutch and the brake. So I did all that, added, like I said, the Darlas for the clear water lights and stuff like that. So, oh, one other thing. I would say that so far I do have a leak in my left front seal, but I think that's just dirt. I'm cleaning it out, so that's just one thing that happened. I did add racks here so I could put the again a Reckless on there, and but yeah, I'm pretty impressed so far by the bike. I'm really happy with it. And we'll see, you know, again, I say that about a lot of things, and then next thing I know, I turn them over. But so far, this is a pretty sweet spot. So first impressions, more to come on it. Get some more riding out this summer and more videos on it. So, all right, folks, thanks a lot. Appreciate it. If you can hit that like, subscribe, and notification button, be fantastic. You guys are, you know, really supporting the channel by hitting the like and commenting and stuff, and continue to keep doing that. I greatly appreciate it, and we'll go from there. So more content, and we'll see you guys soon. Take care. Bye-bye.